Hey everyone, so if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I love animals, and I'm so blessed to be able to take my passion and make it my full-time job. So I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for all the support you've given us over the years, whether it's watching the video all the way through or buying Tito and Cheeto merch. By the way, you can get it, link in the description. But in all seriousness though, I'm really glad to have this job, and I thank each and every one of y'all, like I said, because this is my dream job, and I'm just, like I said, incredibly blessed. And because I have this platform, I'm able to actually take in more animals than I would otherwise and give homes to these pets that never had a good loving home. So thank you guys for supporting, and my pets thank you guys as well. So this video is going to be a little bit about how I got each animal, why we got them, and then kind of giving a little bit of like their personality and things like that. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and we'll get to it. Got a little bit on your nose. All right, so this is Ash. This is probably our first pet Sarah and I got. And I know a lot of us grow up with like a family cat or family dog. Yes, we had those. But this is like the first real pet that we had ourselves. And the way we got Ash, he was actually a rescue. So we were walking past a field. I think it was a cornfield actually. And all of a sudden, Sarah and I heard like this crying. And she was like, "Oh, I think that's a cat." I was like, "No, that's probably some bird or something." She was like, "No, I swear it was a cat." And so I was like, "All right, well, do you want to go look for it or something?" She was like, "Yeah." So because of the area we were in, there's a lot of coyotes and stuff. And this little cat, which I thought was a bird, he kept crying and crying. And it's like, well, if we don't get him now, a coyote might. And so because the corn was about like this high, it wasn't like anything too crazy, but it was still like 1.5 feet off the ground. It was covering up Ash, and because he was so small at the time, I think he was only like 5 weeks old, like it completely covered him. So the way we saw him was we would see the movement of like the corn as he was running through it, and then we could also hear him crying. Because we couldn't really see him, it was kind of hard to like catch him. So we kind of just chased him around all over the place until he eventually got tired, and we were able just to scoop him up. But anyways, this is Sarah's literal favorite animal on the whole planet. I don't think there will ever be another pet that she loves as much as him. So Ash will always have like a special place in our hearts just because, he's our first one, and he's been such a great cat. Although he's pretty shy compared to our other animals. Like the first time we ever moved with him, we moved out of like Sarah moved out of her mom's house and moved in an apartment with me. And Ash did not like the change at all. And he literally went under our couch after we moved in like the furniture, hid under the couch for literally 3 days straight. And he did not come out for food, water, or to even use the bathroom. It was the craziest thing. Of course, we left him food and water under there, but he would not touch it. We were pretty worried. We tried to pull him out, but he was just so stressed. We just kind of eventually just left him be until he was ready to come out and explore. But after those 3 days, he eventually did come out, and he never really quite liked that place. And for like the first like 4 months, all he did was cry from literally 3 in the morning to 6 a.m. And it was literally so hard because at the time I worked in pest control, and oh man, getting up early just for that and working like 10-hour shifts just to come back home and just be so exhausted to, listen to him cry all night. And because of the apartment that we were in, it was a one pet only, and it was like a small pet at that. So pretty much the cat was the only thing we were allowed. So we called up our landlord, and we were like, "Hey, our cat's not handling the move very well. Can we get another cat, to see if that will help him, kind of transition into the new place?" And luckily they were like super nice about it, and they said yeah. So we went to like a pet store, and how like the pet stores usually have like they'll bring cats every so often, and you can adopt out like a foster kitty. That's what we did with Misty. So that brings me to our second cat, and the next in line is Misty. So we literally bought a friend for our cat, and she's been a good cat. Like Ash, she's kind of a recluse, so to speak, and she definitely runs the house. She doesn't like anybody messing with her, and she literally will attack any animal that gets too close and messes with her. She's just kind of a bully, but if they leave her alone, she's fine. All she does is sit around all day. She literally picks like 2 spots and alternates between those 2 spots throughout the day, sitting there hours on end, and that's why she's fat. We've tried to exercise her, but she'd much rather just sit and do nothing. So this is her favorite spot because you got a nice comfortable pillow. Luna, get out of here. And then we also have a bird feeder. So, oh, look at this. Oh, we got a raccoon footprint up here. It's not Tito's. This was here when we moved in. We just thought it was funny, so we left it. But anyways, we got a bird feeder, and they absolutely go crazy for it. I'll see if I can catch some video of it. But yeah, she just likes to sit on her cushion and stare out the window all day. So coming in at number 3 is actually Tito. And I know most of y'all know the circumstances behind that. If you have not seen that, I'll link the video at the end. So yeah, I actually got him when we were at that first apartment right after Misty. And this was kind of when we were moving out of the Charleston area. So the way we got Tito was, at the end of the day, I was finishing up at pest control, and my coworker came up to me and was like, hey, you want a pet raccoon? And I was like, oh yeah, I want a pet raccoon, you know, kind of just joking around. And he's like, all right, well, there's a bucket full of them, go check them out. And so sure enough, there were 4 baby raccoons in like a little 5-gallon bucket. So they didn't really know what they were gonna do with them. So the best thing that he had in mind was just to release them in the woods in his backyard. But because of how old they were, there was no way they would survive. And so what he really wanted to do was try to adopt them out to anybody who wanted them. So prior to this incident, it was like a month beforehand, I think, my wife was telling me how badly she wanted a pet raccoon and that they're one of her favorite animals. And I just thought it was kind of funny because she's never once spoken about raccoons before. And now coincidentally, now I have the opportunity to take one home. That's what I did. I called her up to see if she still wanted it. And she was like, yeah, definitely, bring one home. And so at the time, because I didn't know anything about raccoons, I didn't want to take all 4 of them. So we only took one of them at the time. And I saw one raccoon at the very bottom of the bucket that was kind of being trampled on by everybody else. So that's the one I took to kind of give him an extra chance because everybody was squishing him. So yeah, that's how I got Tito. And you know the rest from there. We have this whole story. I probably won't link that one just because it's such an old video. But yeah, I think they adopted out a couple of other ones. I don't know if they adopted out all of them, but I knew personally I couldn't take the responsibility of 4 of them. Luckily, it turned out super well, and I was able to raise Tito up to adulthood. But anyways, with that being said, that's how we got Tito. Even though he's no longer here, he's an important part of the channel, so I thought I'd touch up on him. All right, so that leads us to 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm gonna put these guys down. So yes, we had 4 ferrets. I'll get to that in a second. Me and Sarah were walking through the pet store one day, and you know that's kind of dangerous with us. And she just stops dead in her tracks. And I was like, oh, what did she find? And we came across, the ferrets, and they have like, the big old bin of them. And they were just running around playing and having like an absolute blast. And so Sarah was like super excited to see them running around and playing. And she looked at me and was like, can we get one? So as you know, like ferrets are pretty expensive. So I was like, ooh, I gotta make sure that that's a good idea, and kind of thought about it for a little bit. So I had to make sure we had like the space, the time, and all of that for them. And I was like, you know what? I definitely think I can handle that. And so I was like, yeah, we can get 1 ferret. And she was like, well, I don't really want to split them up. And I was like, uh-oh, 2 ferrets. And I was like, well, let me think about it some more. And she was like, well, I don't really want to split them up. And I was like, yeah, you just said that. I guess we can get 2 ferrets. I mean, that won't really do us in. She was like, no, I don't want to split them up. And so we went home with 4 ferrets that day instead of 1 or 2. One of them actually ended up passing away really suddenly. Like it was overnight, where he was like looking lethargic, and then the next day he was just gone. And I went back to the pet store. This was like, probably a year into having them, and they said, yeah, somebody else from this pet store had one just randomly pass away. And they said a couple of the litters had a defect, that they were only living to about a year old and then passing away. And so it was really sad to see him, not make it. But anyways, these are like one of our first pets that we've actually bought. and we posted a lot of videos on them, and those videos actually did really well. We haven't posted a while on them, and I'm not sure why, because I know y'all enjoy it, but I think we just had too many videos back to back that I was like, we need to give it a break. We're actually got a couple videos planned for them in the future, so stay tuned for that. They're such unique animals, and like they have so much personality, and they just love playing, so it's fun to watch them because they can make anything entertaining. So up next, this is Theo. He's our pet hedgehog, and I literally just picked him up, so he's still a little bit grouchy. So we got Theo from Repticon, and essentially that is a convention where you can buy and sell reptiles and amphibians, and occasionally they have things like hedgehogs and sugar gliders as well, and so that's where we got Theo. We used to have a hedgehog in the past, but he died of old age a long time ago. They don't live very long, something like 3 to 5 years. So they're super cute, but unfortunately they have such short lifespans. When I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of my other one. And so I got Theo. We haven't really posted him much, but this next video coming up, or maybe a couple videos from now, I do plan on doing a video just on him. And I'm pretty excited for that one. So stay tuned, but let's get some close up of Theo. So a little while after that, we got our next cat. So I think this is our third, yeah, this will make it our third cat, and that is Feely. Hello. So he's straight up chilling. So Felix is probably our most outgoing cat, and he loves people. So whenever we have a visitor over, he's the first one to be seen. He also is a rescue. He was found in a gym parking lot. Sarah's brother called us up one day and was like, hey, I found this cat in the parking lot. I think someone, just left him on the road. We pretty much went out in the area he was found and was looking for any lost cat signs. After a little while, no one claimed him. We ended up making him part of our family because obviously we're not going to give him to the pound. I would rather give him the loving home that he deserves than taking the chance that he might not get a good home if we left him at the pound. So of course, that was a no-brainer to us. So yeah, that's Felix. All right, so this is Cheeto. I've already made a whole video dedicated to him, so I'll link that at the end. But essentially the way we got him was that someone messaged us on Instagram saying, hey, I'm in South Carolina. The mother raccoon was hit by a car, and he was the only baby that was found. I'm not equipped to handle this raccoon. Do you want him? And so I kind of weighed the decision of whether or not to get him or not, just because raccoons are a handful. But I ended up deciding to go with him because I thought it'd be a good friend for Tito. That way he had some company of someone of his own species. And so yeah, that's how we got Cheeto. He is definitely way different than Tito is. Tito is pretty destructive, and he flooded our house. He tore up lots of carpet and just ate all kinds of electrical cords. And so, yeah, Cheeto, on the other hand, is way calmer than Tito ever was as regards to destroying our house. But Cheeto is a lot less handleable. I think the older he'll get, the more he'll calm down. That's kind of how Tito was. Cheeto doesn't like being picked up nearly as much as Tito did. I could just pick Tito up, put him on my shoulder, and I could walk around around the house all day long. Cheeto's not like that. I have to bribe him with treats, and even then, sometimes he stays up there, sometimes he doesn't. So that's how we got him. Just look for the link in the description to find his video on his story. So not that much longer after we got Felix that we actually had the opportunity to adopt Connor. And, he is very rambunctious. He loves playing, so he attacks you all the time. But anyways, I'll put him down, sorry. But anyways, we got him when we went into Lowe's one day. One of the cashiers there was like, hey, do you know anybody who wants a cat? I was like, oh, is someone adopting him out or something? And they're like, well, I just found him at the Ingles before my shift, and I don't really know what to do with him, and I can't take this cat. And when she came out with him, I thought he was literally the cutest cat on the planet. And so I, of course, was like, we'll take him. And it was without question. I was like, after seeing him, I was like, yeah, he's coming home with us. And he was so little, he still needed to be bottle fed. And so we pretty much, this was our first kitten that we've raised from, a kitten to adulthood now. And all of our other pets have, besides Ash was kind of a teenage, I guess, at the time. Definitely didn't need to be on milk. But yeah, so he's probably our first cat that we've had from such a small age. And it was kind of cool because Felix kind of took him under his wing and raised him up. Connor took a lot of characteristics from Felix and kind of shaped his personality. Ash and Misty didn't want anything to do with him, so I was glad that Felix was able to, you know, kind of be the parent of that situation. But yeah, so that's how we got Connor. The next one is Dan. No, we got Luna. Luna, come here. Come here. Good girl. Alright, so this is Luna. This is our German Shepherd dog. She is another pet that we actually bought from a breeder. And I did this for a very specific reason. I love camping, and I actually had a really creepy experience camping. And I went with my friend. It was just us two. We were supposed to go on a 2-day trip. We were supposed to hike like 10 or 15 miles in total. But one of my most prized camping possessions is this chair. My grandpa bought it for me. It's like one of the super lightweight, made of titanium, and it's like the best camping chair ever. Plus he bought it for me, so it's like sentimental. I value this above all my other gear. And so when I take it camping, I always put it in my tent to make sure, you know, I have a seat in the morning, and also so like it doesn't get ruined from the elements if I just left it out. So with that being said, that night it actually started raining, and my friend, he only brought a hammock and he didn't bring a tarp to, you know, keep the rain off of him. So of course he was like, hey, let me share a tent with you. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, dude, come on, I'm getting wet. And I was like, fine. But because I had my chair in there and I didn't put it in my bag because I like having it in the morning, and we hung the bag, you know, from the bears, I was like, let me put my camping chair under your hammock. That way it stays a little bit dry. He was like, fine. And so we came to that conclusion. I put it under his hammock. And then he, you know, got in the tent. And what happened that night was like, I just kept hearing like footsteps, or I kept hearing something around our camp. And I was like, hey, you hear that? He was like, no, go to bed. I'm like, dude, I swear there's something out there. And I would get out every now and then and kind of check around. But of course, I didn't see anything. Like I said, all throughout the night, I just kept hearing something. I would check, nothing. And so eventually, you know, I was like, okay, whatever it is, I'm sure it's just an animal. I'll just get some sleep and then worry about it in the morning. When morning finally came, I opened up the tent, and where my chair was, it was sitting about 30 feet away, perfectly upright, sitting by our fire. Now, obviously the fire went out. We put it out before it went, but it's, you know, still coals. So sometime in the middle of the night, someone took my chair, put it by this fire, and was just sitting in our camp, you know, chilling, I guess. I don't know. But that really sketched me out. Like I said, that was supposed to be a 2-day trip. And so, yeah, we called our trip off and headed back. So that being said, like I said, I like camping. I wanted a dog that, you know, if a situation like that happens, that's another set of ears to, you know, listen out for something like that. So yeah, that's why I ended up getting Luna. She's a German Shepherd dog. I wanted her because she was loyal. She's very athletic. She's the working breed. So she, you know, she's very motivated to listen. So that's why I got a dog. I've always wanted a dog anyways, and I thought this was a good enough time as ever to get one. They're definitely significantly way more work than any of our pets all combined, especially when they're a puppy. I swear I was running her outside to use the bathroom like every 5 minutes. Now that she's getting older, she's becoming less work. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoy her, and I'm ready to start camping. Okay, after Luna, we got Dan. Maybe, I don't know if that's the exact order, but that's relatively close to how it happened. But let me go get Dan. He's got me. Ah, what the heck? All right, so this is Dan. He was actually another rescue that we had. On my wife's channel, she actually did a video surprising my husband with a cat, and this is him. And the reason why we have him is because he actually needed a home pretty badly. The place he was found in, he was actually found stapled in a bag and left to die. Some people are just like super messed up and think that it's okay to, you know, if they don't want to pet anymore, just kind of leave it to die pretty much. So we wanted to make sure Dan had the best life he could possibly have. And so that's kind of why we adopted him. So I originally saw him, so I sent a picture to Sarah saying, hey, look, there's a cat that looks exactly like Ash. Next thing I know, she's getting him without me knowing and, you know, making a video about it. I'll link that video and you guys can see it. But it's just messed up that people treat animals the way that they do. And I just can't fathom it. But yeah, now Dan's in a loving home and he has, you know, tons of siblings that he loves playing with. Connor is probably his favorite friend here. And man, they play literally all day long. Dan also loves cuddling and he also loves people food. It's absolutely insane the measures he will go to eat your food. So we recently did a video about our raccoon, you know, eating chicken nuggets and seeing which ones were his favorite. Dan decided he wanted to be a part of that video and literally ate all the chicken nuggets from McDonald's. That was not part of the plan. He just did it and I just happened to film it while we were doing it. So normally he doesn't get food like that and we really try to limit, you know, the people food that he gets. But like I said, he is so persistent. It's almost impossible for him not to get any, because if you leave your bowl or whatever unattended for even a second, he's up there eating from it. So yeah, like I said, we definitely try not to let him have people food, but you know, it happens. And it's really cute when he does get it, but don't tell him that because then he'll keep doing it. But anyways, so that leaves us one last pet. I have not, you know, told anybody about this pet yet, just because he's relatively new. All right, so this is our rabbit. I spend a lot of time editing in my office and it's a no pet zone just because, you know, the cats, they literally get into no good wherever they turn. And I didn't like having no pets in there. So I decided to get a bunny just because, you know, they're so calm. And so whenever I'm out there, I just put him on the floor. He hops around and it keeps me entertained while I'm, you know, working. But he's super calm, he's super soft, and yeah, we love him. So that wraps up this video. I think in all we have 12 pets, and we love each and every one of them. And like I said, I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart that I'm able to have all these guys and make it my job at the same time. So yeah, if you would like to support an animal, be sure to pick up some Tito and Cheeto merch. We definitely appreciate it. But anyways, thanks again guys for watching and take care.